Broken Farm Dog Chronicles. He has been out here for 5 hours running up and down this entire 67-acre field. Like, he won't stop. He just runs. Every time I dump a truck, he follows me all the way to the back. Like, Carter has came and got him 3 times. I mean, yes, we do live like way over there. But why, dog? You training for a marathon?
That's $6 corn right there. I don't know if anybody asked, but that's $6 corn.
All right here we're on the same farm as the Zombie Trail Paintball and corn maze is, and right here the trailers come out of the woods and drive around this cornfield before going back in over there. So I was just cutting out a few rows right here around the edge, you know, where the zombies hide and everything. And you know, this corn is replanted, I think somewhere right around towards the end of June or whatever. And let me tell you, there's not hardly a harvestable ear out there. We got a lot of stalk, which is fine with me. We're really not too off interested in yield for that, but still, there's hardly a harvestable ear out there. In fact, I don't know if you can see it, but you see that little pile of green right there? That's all we got out of this. Of course, that corn's only about half milk line anyway, but anyway, just showing you just how bad dry it was that, you know, I don't even know if we'll wind up harvesting this after the Zombie Trail's over with. We might just bring a bush hog out here and just mow it all down, because you can't even pay to run a combine through it. But anyway, we got the spot cut out for all the zombies and everything, and the trailers to drive through, so that's one less thing we're gonna have to do. Anyway, I know I mention it every year, whatever, but just want to remind y'all about the, you know, the Zombie Trail, the corn maze, and also Camp Blood, the haunted attraction. It starts here in a few short weeks. I believe opening night is the last Saturday of September, and then after that it'll be open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. I believe through the first weekend of November. We're open there for a few days right after Halloween. So, love to see y'all this fall. Y'all looking for a good time? We got something for everybody. We got the Zombie Trail, which is a completely family-friendly attraction. You know, there's nothing haunted about that. The spookiest thing is you're riding on a trailer pitch black dark through the woods. So, you know, there's nothing out there to try and scare you anything. The corn maze, you know, there's nothing out there in the corn maze. Heck, it's challenging enough as it is. Just try to find your way through the corn maze in the dark. And then if you like to be frightened, well then Camp Blood is going to be the ticket for you. It's perhaps the most aggressive haunted house / haunted attraction anywhere in the surrounding area, West Tennessee and surrounding states. If y'all do decide to come, I highly recommend that you try to get here probably one of the weekends, the first half of October. Lines are not going to be very long, probably won't even have a line at all, but those last couple of weekends of October as Halloween approaches, lines can get pretty long, you know, where they might be, you know, potentially 2 hours long, even though we can run a lot of people through in a hurry. Just so many people show up, you know, it takes a while to work through all of them. But generally the first half of October, there'll be very little waiting for you. You can also pre-buy your tickets online, zombietrailpaintball.com, and also campbloodtn.com. Save you a little bit of time too. So anyway, guys, I hope to see y'all this fall. It's going to be a big one. Well, we finally made it to a little bit decent corn on this farm. Unlike our first farm, this farm's almost completely hill ground. It doesn't have a few nice bottoms in it like the previous one did, but right down here next to the creek, I don't know, we got probably about 5 or 6, 7 acres of some good bottom ground, and hopefully that'll bring the average up a little bit. As it is, I think we're sitting on about 130 bushels per acre for the whole farm. It was a little bit more variable in yield. I think it's got a higher top end than what the 65-95 does, because it really looked good in the good spots. However, the poor spots is probably a little bit weaker. Overall though, I think it's probably a better yielding variety than 65-95 is, based upon what we've seen off these two farms. But we got about 6-7 more acres on this farm, then we'll move on over to Ellington. Same variety, kind of expect similar yields. Then after that, we'll pretty much have all of our thin hill ground done, and we'll be on better ground. Hopefully yields pick up a little bit more. All right, we just got done with majority of this farm. We've got like a 2-acre bottom down this road. So Kelly's gonna go get the service truck. She quits messing with the dog, and gonna go down there and block traffic so I can get down the road with my header. I mean, we only got to go about a 1/3 of a mile or so. All right, let's see if we can do this. It gets mighty dang narrow once we get over this hill. I'm gonna be dang near rubbing the header on the ditch bank on both sides. And the only reason I'm leaving the header on going this way, because we only got to go a very short distance, very little traffic on this road, and this little bitty field. I mean, there's no room to get in there and hook the header up and everything else without running over a ton of crop. So as long as traffic being blocked, it's perfectly safe to do so. This is where it starts getting real tight here. And dusty windows with sun shining on it does not make it any easier. All right, there we go. I know y'all can't see it because of the dust and the sun glare on the windshield, but drought really affected this corn over here. We're still on decal 65-95, but we got quite a few stalks of corn down in the middles, and because I can't see real well, I'm having to go slow and try to run my snout as close to the ground as possible, pick as many of those ears up as I can. But it's yielding decently over here, better than the last farm. I think our average is up about 10 bushels higher than the last farm, but I think what happened is just got so hot and dry, the corn plant just cannibalized itself so much just trying to fill out the ear that it weakened a lot of these stalks. And we didn't have a severe storm over here, and it's not, you know, laid down, but you can see all through there, you know, there's quite a few stalks that have fallen over. I'm assuming it's probably a flaw with this variety too, but I noticed it a little bit on the last farm, but nothing like I'm seeing over here. I wish I could be cutting this when the sun was directly overhead where I could see those snouts. a little bit better. Last thing I want to do is fold one of those snouts up under the corn head here. But we also can't afford to leave several bushels of corn on the ground either. As brittle as these stalks are, at least it ought to be pretty easy to drill my cover crops into it.
Looking corn. I mean, it's not the greatest you've ever seen, but it's daggone close.
Well, I thought this side of the road was going to take a while because I thought I'd be waiting forever for Kelly to haul, because she's got to go like down a long rough field road through the woods to get to the road, and then got to go like probably about 3/4 of a mile or so down the road to get to the other part of the farm, which is the only place where Andy can park the truck to unload. But this corn doing so poor back here, I'm really not having to wait all that long. It's just worst corn. This is the worst corn I've shelled since 2022. It's just not good. I think this farm, out of all my farms, got the least amount of rain out of all of them. And this side of the road over here is doing maybe 100. Just not good at all. In fact, I believe I'm going to call my crop insurance agent Monday morning and go ahead and file a claim on the corn crop, because while I don't necessarily think we're going to have a claim based on yield this year, because corn prices have dropped dramatically since you know, the price was set in February. There's a very good chance we could have a revenue claim. And not only that, you know, normally I insure my crop at the 70% level. It's always seemed like the most reasonable price point for us. This year, because premiums dropped a little bit because of, you know, lower guaranteed prices, I bumped my coverage up to the 75% level. So based on a low yield plus a dramatically lower price, we might get an insurance payment, but not gonna get an insurance payment unless I file a claim. So we'll file a claim, let the adjuster work out all the numbers whenever we get done with harvest, and see if we can recoup a little bit of money this year. My Vols playing NC State tonight.
Tennessee defense equipped to get behind the sticks like this. The call, firing to the outside, it's complete.
All right, we actually got done a little bit quicker than I thought. A lot of that's due to poor yields. Didn't have to haul too many loads out of that field, but anyway, it's been a pretty dang productive day. First one in a long time. I think we got right at 70 acres shelled. Moved farms twice, so we're moving everything back to the shop now, so it'll be real easy to service come Monday morning. Then we'll move on up to Madison County and pray to God that yields pick up some, because they've been a little lower than what I was expecting so far. But all our good corn ground is up in Madison County, so I know they'll be a little bit better. Hopefully be enough to make up for my corn here in Crockett. So anyway, guys, see y'all back here Monday morning. It is absolutely amazing how much dirt and dust these air filters can soak up, and the combine's still running fine. I know people that replace the air filters on their cars like every oil change, even though there's not hardly any dust or anything else whatsoever in it. And here I am blowing out something like this and reusing it. I was wanting to show off a new filter blaster, but apparently sometime over the summer, one of the ears got broke off on the head, and just had to order another one. So for now, we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. All right, I want want to point y'all's attention to those outside few rows. As you can see, we're passing some pretty gigantic oak trees, big strong root systems that come on out to the field. But look at those outside rows, you know, we've got, you know, it's not yielding great, don't get me wrong, but we've got some nice big, reasonably sized stalks capable of putting on an ear, whereas in years past, those first few rows would be extremely stunted, especially considering the extremely dry summer we've had so far this year. Now this farm right here was one of the ones where we ran that single shank subsoiler around the edge, and the goal of that was to prune the tree roots that went from the tree line out in the field, robbing the crop of nutrients and moisture. And so far on the fields where I've shelled so far, it's made a huge difference. Now a lot of these stalks out here on the edge are still bearing because, like I said, we've had a very dry summer. But if we'd had more of a normal summer, a lot of these stalks would have, you know, went ahead and produced some decent sized ears. So, you know, it really didn't cost us hardly anything to run that subsoil around the edge. But by pruning all those roots, it's made a big difference in the potential production on our farm. One of the easiest and cheapest yield enhancements I believe we could do, and definitely going to try to do the rest of our farms next spring. And a lot of people might think, well, I mean, you're only talking about, you know, a few rows right there around the edge. Now, when you think about, you know, say the first 3 or 4 rows all the way around a big farm like this, you know, this is a 105 acre farm right here. You're talking about a few acres right there that can either help boost your average or really bring your average down. It's not an insignificant amount of area, that's for sure.
Welcome to Monday. We have moved to the Clanton farm, which is like, I think 105, 120 acres. But here's the best thing of all today. Hello, little stowaway kitty. He's driving. Do you have your license, sir? Do you have your CDL?
The cat does.
He's so funny. These are the kittens that hang out at... hi! You wanted to ride? You riding now? Yeah, you're a truck kitty now. Oh my God. Only on our farm. Hi! No, you can't get down. Andy actually found them on the side of the road about a month and a half ago. So we've kind of just kept them around the shop. It's just hanging out. Oh, I love it.
Well, we're back to waiting again. Yields have definitely picked up over Crockett County. It's still not great, but definitely significantly better than what we have been harvesting. But anyway, we're starting out over here on Clanton Farm. Got a new variety that got a few bags of. Pioneer gave to me. They wanted me to try. This is Pioneer 13777. I believe they got into a 5-digit numbering system, and I haven't really shelled enough to know about the yield. I mean, I think the yield looks pretty decent. One thing I am noticing is the ear placement on it being extremely erratic, and I'm having to run my corn head a lot lower to make sure I don't get any ears crushed in the stalk rolls. But anyway, some of the ears are dropped, some are still standing upright, but you know, we got a high one here, and then we got a low one here, another low one, and then back up to high, low, low. And then I thought I saw one down here. Oh, here's one down here that's really low. So we got ears from up here to down here. Anyway, we got some nice size looking ears. They're not quite as big as round as what I'm hoping. You know, we've got you know, small kernel size just due to the hot, dry weather, but at least we got some full size ears. But you know, it's this really low ear placement on some of them that's kind of got me concerned. And I haven't seen that on the other varieties that I've shelled so far. They've all been pretty consistent, so I don't know if it was environmental factors this year on this variety or if it's more genetics on this variety. Look, we go from one ear right here, stalk right next to it. Got an ear way down low here, and the one next to it down low. So that's one characteristic I'm not too fond of. I prefer a high ear placement because I can run my corn head higher. We don't have automatic header height control on that corn head, and I'd prefer to just really keep my snouts far up off the ground with our terraces. Don't risk hanging the snout and catching it, and I like that high ear placement right there. Then looking down here, I mean, we got some that's you know, about 2 feet off the ground right here. Anyway, guess I want to get up here and eat my lunch while I wait on Kelly to unload and get back here. All right, we're about 20 acres into this 105 acre farm, and definitely the best yielding corn we've been in so far this year. Right now my average is sitting on 153, and that's including all the in-rows around this farm, which of course is going to be a lot lower yielding. But you know, out here in the middle, you know, we're seeing some pretty dang good corn, you know, 170, 180 bushels, some places getting up to 200. And you know, this is a hill farm. You know, it's not good bottom ground, but it's not a highly erodible hill farm, so got pretty decent topsoil on it. I know there's a bunch of like white soil, poorly drained soil on this farm, but overall it's doing a little bit better than what I thought it'd do, so hopefully it continues to pick up. We're about to get over to the spot where I'm gonna have to cut around our test plots. We got our UT and Pioneer plots over here. Gonna get those first thing tomorrow morning. But I kind of alluded to it earlier this morning. We got something on the horizon that's already caused me to take action today. Apparently we got a predicted hurricane going to be up here later this week. I think somewhere around Thursday. So right now it's a tropical storm down in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's predicted to get up to at least hurricane status and potentially major hurricane status before it makes landfall. And it's predicted to make landfall somewhere around the New Orleans area. And I remember last time a significant hurricane hit New Orleans, it threw everything into a tizzy in the agricultural world. The basis went to crap on our crop because a lot of the terminals in New Orleans were damaged. Not only that, fuel prices went through the roof because a lot of offshore drilling rigs were damaged in the hurricane. So I'll be happy to see the rainfall that comes from it, because it's predicted to come, I mean, literally straight up towards us, and that ought to really finish off any cotton, and especially these double crop beans, really going to help them out, finish them off. But I'm not excited about the potential damage to infrastructure that we really count on down there. You know, when Hurricane Katrina hit, you know, it was a very major hurricane, a Category 5, but before it ever hit on shore, it weakened to like Category 3, and this hurricane this week, it could potentially be a Category 2 or 3 hurricane whenever it hits. So really not really worried about the wind damage, but the flooding damage. If you remember from Katrina, you know, anytime you have a hurricane with a city that's below sea level, you know, flooding could be a big issue. So anyway, this morning I went ahead and ordered a tanker load of fuel. Because no telling what's going to happen with fuel prices. If there's any damage offshore, you know, that could really make fuel prices really jump up. So hopefully I got enough diesel ordered to get us through harvest. I think dyed fuel, I think they quoted me at, it's either $2.69 or $2.89 a gallon. I can't remember, but higher than I'd like it to see, but definitely lower than what it was last year. I don't think I'm going to quite make it to the end here. So anyway, we're going to be blowing and going as hard as possible, try and get as much of this corn out before the remnants of that hurricane get up here. I'm not really worried about damage or anything like that, but if we can get grain out before it gets rained on, that's always a lot better scenario. But unfortunately, Andy's got a lot longer drive to the grain bins. He's got about 4.5, 5 mile trip to the grain bins to get unloaded. So we're in a lot better yielding corn. We're gonna have to do a little bit of waiting on them.